We Told You So, Episode 13. This episode comes courtesy of my new ghost mug that I'm drinking my coffee out of. This came from overseas and cost me $40. If I had bought it next year, it would have been about $400.
First off, some logistics. This series of mine is already incredibly popular. But in many of them, you're going to find me referencing things I already talked about. And that's because we're going to be looking at things that are proposed to be happening, things that are already happening, as well as the aftermath. And as I stated, I'm going to be petty as fuck every step of the way. So let's talk about this one. Prices, tariffs, and immigration. As we've seen for a few days now already, companies are already raising their prices in order to offset Trump's tariffs that he's going to implement. A lot of businesses are buying up more raw materials now to prepare for next year because they know the tariffs are going to be that bad. But Trump is already starting to screw over the economy before he's even sworn in, because these companies do not trust him. And these companies that are already preparing to raise their prices have specifically stated that it is directly in result of Donald Trump's plans for the economy. By the way, this man has filed for bankruptcy like 6 times, including bankrupting casinos. I'm sure he's got some great plans for us, right? And once again, long before the election, people like myself were out here giving you things from Forbes and The Economist, all showing you that tariffs are not a good thing, because it's always us, the consumers, that pay for it. Donald Trump was out there telling his followers, oh, the higher the tariff, the better, and we're going to do 20% tariffs across the board and even more for China. All that means is we're going to jack up all of your prices on everything. But unfortunately, people who voted for Donald Trump are too ignorant as to how the economy works. They see Donald Trump talking about high tariffs and they're all like, America, fuck yeah! Meanwhile, Europe is issuing the United States a warning that if they go through with Trump's policies, we're headed for a full-blown recession. That will be several episodes all on its own. But while prices are skyrocketing, guess what? We're also going to be running out of food. Because Stephen Miller, the white supremacist Yahtzee, was just appointed Trump's head of operations. And he said he wants to turbocharge Trump's denaturalization project, which means not just deporting illegal immigrants, which is going to cost billions of dollars, but also taking away citizenship from legal immigrants and deporting them as well. Remember how everybody used to warn us all the time that we needed to save the bees, because without bees, we can't have food because bees are in charge of most of the pollination? Let's just say that in an agricultural workforce sense, we're going to be losing all of our bees. Because when you look at Farm Worker Justice's website talking about priorities for reform for immigration, they point out a very interesting fact. Roughly 77% of the farm labor force is foreign-born. An estimated 50 to 75% are undocumented. Which means that once Donald Trump goes through with his mass deportations, we are going to suddenly lose 3/4 of our agricultural workforce. Prices are not only going to skyrocket because of tariffs, they're also going to skyrocket because of shortages. Those eggs that you guys were all complaining about over on the right being too expensive, because there was a massive avian flu problem that ended up making eggs go up to like $7 for a couple months, I'm going to be laughing in your face when eggs are suddenly $42 a dozen. This right here is also one of the chief reasons why, in a previous video, not part of this series though, I mentioned that Donald Trump's tariffs and mass deportations were going to bankrupt our country. Just like he bankrupted himself 6 times and bankrupted casinos. Because Donald Trump wants to run the country like one of his businesses, which means he gets all the money, everyone else gets screwed. And then the whole thing just folds. Trump's mass deportations and his tariffs, along with his tax cuts for billionaires again, are going to raise our taxes, skyrocket our prices of groceries, raise unemployment, raise inflation, and it's going to turn us into a third world country in less than a year. And you're not even going to get the cheaper gas prices you MAGA wanted so much. But don't worry about that, because you won't be able to afford a car either. This has been We Told You So.